It doesn't matter. It's Star Wars. I love how
storytelling matters.
I just love how it all comes in.
Matters.
I will say
so
that
you side with what's called the rule of cool. Well, hello, anybody and everybody. It's me, Caleb. This is my good friend Sean. You've known me my entire life.
Yep.
I've known you my entire life. So, anyways.
Your whole life, even when I thought you were going to be a girl.
That's a whole nother story. Anyways, so you've been part of my life a long time. We share a love of stories, of things that are nerdy, things that are fun. You introduced me to Lord of the Rings back when they were in the theaters. And
I did?
You did, yeah. It was with you and my brother and both my brothers. We went to go see Two Towers, and I've never seen anything else from that point on.
Wow.
But you also introduced me, I believe, to another amazing series that we both really like, and that is Star Wars. Okay? So this is the first time you have any idea what we're doing. And what I want to do is we're going to go through and spur of the moment, we have to come to a consensus. We have to rank the 11 Star Wars films without...
Are any of my friends going to watch this?
I have no idea. Probably not, because I have like 50
Okay, because I might lose credibility.
And obviously this is all subjective, and if you love some of the films that I have some, questions or concerns about that get bumped down, that is all up to every single individual.
Is this including, you said how many of the...
This is the film. So this is the 3 trilogies,
right,
and the standalones Rogue One and Solo. So there's 11 movies. This isn't series. That could be another video where we add in series.
But you forgot a couple movies.
Which movies?
There's the 2 Ewok movies. There's the Star Wars Christmas special.
Mm-hmm.
And like the Ewok Adventure, that's one of the movies. That's a good one.
So, as I said, you know a lot about these. In fact, going back to your childhood, Star Wars was a big part of your life. How much was that one figurine that you did have at one point that if you hadn't opened it, it would have been worth?
Well, I had the Obi-Wan Kenobi with the plastic vinyl cape and the Darth Vader with the plastic vinyl cape, and they had the slidable lightsabers. Mm-hmm. And they were, if they were still in their package today, mint, they would be worth like $4 to $5 grand each. But I didn't like them as a kid, so I put them in my fart can.
Quick as I get this set up, what was your fart can?
It's a U-Bahn coffee can that I believe my grandmother had, and somehow I ended up with it. And whatever action figures I didn't like, they were always the bad guys. I would put them in the can, and anytime my friends are over, or I was by myself in my room, and I had to fart, I would open up the lid, fart into it, and then put the lid back on. And yes, it did stink.
I can only imagine. So
why would we play with these things?
No idea. So, with that all said, these are not having the Christmas special and the Ewok movies. Sorry for the diehard fans out there.
Can this episode be brought to you by the fart can?
Yes. Sponsored by the Sean Marshall special fart can.
Whenever you have to rip one, just open up that can and let her rip.
These are in randomized order. I randomized it coming in.
Okay.
And so we have 4 categories here. Top tier is One with the Force. Second tier is This Is the Way. Third is Back to Tank, which it has some issues but could have some work, but
right.
And then the final one is Bantha Fodder.
Okay.
Is anything into Bantha Fodder? We have to come to a consensus. They could be any number. If it goes into a tier, we have to rank within that tier.
Can none of them be in Bantha Fodder?
We have to be a consensus though.
All right.
So there are we approach videos differently too. You view Star Wars films, I believe, at a much higher tier than I do. I love Star Wars completely, but I also am a story purist, so there are sometimes things that just knock it down. You overlook things because of your love of the series. I take issue with some things that drop it down in my perspective, so maybe we'll have to split the difference or something.
This is more, just so you guys understand, if in the middle of Return of the Jedi, the Jabba's hut, the Jabba the Hutt puppet tomb fell apart, and all you see is these guys doing the controls and stuff, I would be like, it's okay. I love Star Wars.
Yes. So you very much look at this with rose-colored glasses. So
absolutely.
We'll see how this goes. So first up, because this is in no particular order, is we have the Attack of the Clones movie. Where would you rank that? I know kind of where I would put that myself, but...
Okay. Well, I've grown appreciation for Attack of the Clones since the Clone Wars cartoon animated series came out.
100%. And we're going to do another. I want to do another series one when we add this in.
So,
because I haven't finished all of the series, and so I don't feel like
that would be
leave
out Clone Wars, I leave out Rebels,
yes,
I leave out...
It's a standalone.
I leave out Bad Batch.
Ahsoka,
I would rank...
everything.
I would put... Now, again, I'm not understanding. Can we make sure... Do some movies have to end up in Bantha fodder? Is that how we're doing this?
No, they can. They don't have to be in there.
All right. Just because... Solely because... Now I love Hayden Christensen. When I saw him in Obi-Wan, I loved him. And I think that he's an awesome Anakin. But back then, his whiny... Just it was irritating.
It gets everywhere.
Yeah,
that whole thing,
and that whole thing with the floating fruit and I just
riding that weird creature with the
And he's like, it's just to me, the Attack of the Clones probably is the worst out of all of them, and some people would hate me for this, but I'm gonna put that in.
For now, because we can rearrange these.
Okay,
as
I'll
they
put it
come
in
in.
back to tank. For now.
I would agree with that. I think that I actually really liked the beginning, especially of it, when it was establishing what was going on with the Separatists, and before you have the clone army joining, before it goes to Geonosis, when there's the assassin attempts. And all, I just felt like it was a really unique...
It's cool. There's some cool moments.
Yeah, it was cool moments, but really Hayden Christensen in that one as his first movie. I think that was his first movie ever?
First movie, yeah.
He had a lot to learn. He grew as an actor later. And I just think, those things that I previously mentioned, putting it back to tank, that things that needed work, that with work it could have made it better. That's why back to tank. Do you like my categories?
Yes.
So, I would agree. That could move up or down as it goes. Next up we have, this is randomized, Empire Strikes Back. Can I just save us time?
One with the Force. Just throw it at the top, and there's nothing that will
needs to
defeat
be
Empire
said.
Strikes Back.
Nothing needs to be said.
The movie is an absolute masterpiece, and I watched that video you sent me, and I even told Bryce, I love how... It's little things.
It was a fan film. There's
a behind the scenes. You're talking about that one. I'm talking about the one before that. You sent me.
That was a good one.
When C-3PO was Chewbacca was carrying C-3PO and he's walking around, his arm was all flopping. They were trying to use animatronics to make.
It was $100,000 to make this kind of weird animatronic robot work, and it broke first time filming.
Right. And so the prop man fixed it in like 20 minutes with a fishing pole.
Yeah, in the back, with a fishing pole, making it jerk
I
around.
also love the fact that the director, Irvin Kershner, told George Lucas, I'll make this, but you can't be hovering over me. And the one scene he comes in to observe, George Lucas does, is the scene when the X-Wings come out of the swamp and the wings are falling off.
Yep.
I just think that this movie, from a storytelling standpoint, and to build the franchise, is the best.
Yeah, 100%. So, it was a perfect sequel in my mind. I would say it's a better sequel than... I would almost argue better than Two Towers compared to Fellowship of the Ring.
I think it's the best sequel ever made.
Top of one with the Force.
I think it's the best movie ever made.
Top of one with the Force.
Argue with me. I dare you. I'll find you, and I'll throw dead cats at your windows.
Next up, we have The Force Awakens.
I get access to dead cats. I know how to find them.
Random things friends say. The Force Awakens.
Oh. Okay. I'm going to say this is the way.
This is the way?
Yeah, because I feel like it was a solid entry into the new trilogy. Although I could not stand Finn as a stormtrooper.
There was a lot of telling, not showing in that.
Yes.
I feel like the whole Poe Dameron, he's an amazing pilot. It's like, show it more. And I also feel Finn brought it down for me, and the treatment of the original characters I feel like should have been better. So I'm going to agree this is the way. It's going to be more on the bottom for me. I'm just foreshadowing for that because of the treatment of the originals.
I also don't like how Captain Phasma was introduced as this like elite stormtrooper, and then all of a sudden she's just easily overtaken by, But one of the things I love is when Chewbacca goes crazy when Han Solo gets killed, and a lot of you out there go, "Well, I don't like how Han." It is what it is.
It is what it is. The Chewie, for me, it was the Princess Leia comforting Rey after Han's death. And not Chewie. That, for me, was a little bit where that pulled it. Again, treatment of the original characters. Han dying, okay. Story choice, I feel like it was appropriate as a story choice. The reaction to it was what, for me, just didn't connect the dots.
I think Harrison Ford also was pleading with everyone to please kill his character.
Probably.
Because, it's typical Harrison Ford.
Yep. So, okay, so far no major things. Next up, The Last Jedi. This for me, and this is one that I will go ahead and say, and you can change and argue it up. I would put this one in bantha fodder, and here is why: the turn of the story from The Force Awakens into the treatment of Luke, the whole, I forget even the name of the whole white sand, red crystal planet. It was supposed to be a recreation of Endor, and then, or not Endor, sorry, Hoth, and then you have Luke fighting Ben Solo through telekinesis, all that. It just... Then also going to the whole, the gambling planet, the whole thing that was a whole side quest that could have been handled some other way and had better character development. For me, just across the way, it was the opposite of Empire Strikes Back. It was a horrible sequel, in my opinion. This is where you look at things with rose-colored glasses. For me, it just was a complete break, and yeah, that's where I put it.
There's some friends of mine, and I agree. Rian Johnston would have been a much better... The trilogy would have been in much better hands with Rian Johnston than it would have been with J.J. Abrams.
If he had done it from the beginning.
Right. And so his
interpretation of Luke. Okay.
Well, I actually didn't mind it, because I look at Luke as turning more into Grey Jedi, and he was like sick and tired of the Jedi, but he's also not with the Sith, and so he's kind of this neutral character now, and he's kind of done with the whole thing, and he's kind of become a hermit, and he's very jaded. I didn't mind that.
But him getting there, that was my problem with him, is him getting there as well. The action with almost
there's a lot of directional differences between The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi are very different than A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back, you know? And I'm not to mirror those, but like I did appreciate...
Different scriptwriters too, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I didn't like Rose as a character. I just thought she was kind of I hate to say this, a useless character. The gambling planet, I didn't mind it when you look at it from like Solo's perspective, that there's these shady crime organizations out there ruling the galaxy behind and underneath the First Order, you know, or underneath the Empire.
First Order. Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's...
So I didn't mind some elements in that. I love how she drove the ship hyperspace through the Star Destroyer. That was amazing. There was elements of that I loved the face-off between...
If that's always...
Luke Skywalker when he brushes off, you know, and he's using the Force. So there's some... And I also love how Rey went down into the dark side, very much how Luke went down into the swamp. I felt like that didn't pay off in the end, but we'll get to that movie. But I didn't mind it. I would, if I was voting that, I would put it in This Is the Way. So does that mean it goes in Back to Tank?
I will say it's in Back to Tank. Is it better or worse than Clone Wars?
Better.
You say it's better? I would say. Okay. Since we are compromising with being in Back to Tank, well, I will let you decide the order on that.
Or else I'll put
if ramming a giant ship is always a threat, why has that not been seen before? Okay. Storytelling. For me, I'm a storytelling purist. You're a Star Wars. Okay.
I'll put your phone in my fart can.
Okay. In the comments, hey, we could have 5 viewers, we could have 1 million viewers on this. I have no clue. In the comments, where do you agree? It's stories.
People get passionate. If I'm 9 years old and you just I'll still throw dead cats at your window.
And then put you in a fart can. Next up, we have A New Hope.
Oh, come on. This is One with the Force, 100%.
One with the Force. I would agree with that.
This is the most groundbreaking movie in the history of the world.
Below Empire Strikes Back.
Below.
But still up. Don't even need to talk about it.
Slightly below.
Just the stories that I hear about how when this came out, the revolutionary storytelling that happened with this, like you watch any documentary on the making of A New Hope, and it just is groundbreaking with what George Lucas did. The opening trumpet blast in comparison to how counter that was to the movies of the time. The opening scene with the planet flying, cutting to... It was just revolutionary and groundbreaking, and his use of a hero with 1,000 faces, the hero's journey, and transforms that. I mean, it's...
I also love how we find out he gets the scar on his cheek from whipping the lions with the whip, and he's on that train, remember, and he whips the whip, and he said that's how you find out he has the scar on his chin.
Wrong series.
I'm just kidding.
Whole nother good series. Okay, there we go. Phantom Menace.
Oh, I'm gonna go One with the Force on this one.
Phantom Menace. You know what? I actually agree with you.
It comes down to one scene. The double doors open, and Darth Maul's standing here like this.
That fight scene. And people like get on the politics trade stuff. I'm a historian. I teach history. I'm a master's in history. Though people get bored out by the whole economics trade system. I think that's fascinating. It's a different take.
You're talking about the Trade Federation?
Yeah, the whole Trade Federation, all that. People get bored by it. I'm like, it sets a scene and it shows that this is a different series, a different trilogy than the original. I think it's amazing and great. Maybe the whole midichlorian things might drop it down, all that, but I think it's great. And Liam Neeson Qui-Gon does an amazing job. Ewan McGregor, everything, and Darth Maul, not Mace Windu, Darth Maul, I think would have been an amazing villain through the entire trilogy if they hadn't just killed him off. That doesn't drop it down.
Kill him off.
No, but that's get into Solo, but we'll get into series later.
Rebels, but I want to say one thing about this movie. There's a few Star Wars movies that I could watch the movie over and over again just for that one scene. And one of my favorite scenes is when Darth Maul and Qui-Gon are fighting in the desert, and Darth Maul has his cloak on, and he's only got one saber out.
Yeah.
And they're fighting, and he jumps on, and then he tracks his saber. That's just one scene I remember watching over and over and over again, and I'm like, I love this movie. I love the pod racing. At first...
And the reveal of the two lightsabers then, when the doors open, everyone's just like... I was in the theater, actually. That was the first Star Wars movie I ever watched, was Phantom Menace.
Yeah, and
my mom wasn't into Star Wars, wouldn't let me watch it, and then I went with friends to go see it, and I remember watching it in Reading, Phantom Menace, and I remember watching that, and I had no background in Star Wars, and I was blown away by it, and that fight scene was my first ever introduction to an amazing fight scene, amazing choreography, and then I discovered the original trilogy. So.
Yeah. I think at first I was more annoyed. Once I got over
Jar Jar, some things, some elements.
Well, the whole Jar Jar thing was really annoying to me because I did not like the character until, if you haven't watched this, on YouTube you can find Dave Filoni, who's to me the guy that is the next George. He is George Lucas in another body, but like
Bad Batch, right?
Yeah, So Dave Filoni explains why Jar Jar is crucial to the Star Wars franchise in relation to Qui-Gon Jinn, the father figure, Obi-Wan being the brother figure. And as soon as I watched that video on YouTube, it changed my whole perception of the original trilogy, especially with Jar Jar. And now I have a much deeper appreciation for it.
I like his directing in The Bad Batch, and so I'll have to check that out. I haven't seen that. That makes sense, though. Next up, we have Return of the Jedi.
I'm going to go one with the Force.
One with the Force?
Yeah.
Where at in this ranking?
I'm gonna put
I would put it above New Hope, below Empire Strikes Back. That is mine. Where would you bump it up or down? Not up, obviously.
I would put it behind A New Hope.
Really? Okay.
It's hard because it's easy as second place. It's easy as third place. I feel like A New Hope and Return of the Jedi are an equal, and then Empire Strikes Back is slightly above.
Yeah, I am not mad with that.
But I would put Last Jedi before Return of the Jedi. Just kidding.
Farcan. Okay. Rogue One.
Okay. I want to go first on this.
Yeah.
I'm going to put Rogue One in second place right behind Empire Strikes Back.
One
with the Force.
Why do you think I put One with the Force as the top tier? I would 100% agree with you on that. I
feel
rewatched it this last week.
I feel like it's a perfect movie.
It is. I honestly can believe in one movie, the storytelling, the character development, everything was just so good. And then we were in the theater watching it, and I don't believe we had a clue that Darth Vader, they did a great job of not revealing that Darth Vader was going to come into it. That final attack with just the utter destruction of a full power. This is the first time you saw a new generation of movie editing and filming full power Darth Vader come in, and he just you know the fight I'm talking about. If you're watching this, you've seen it.
Yeah,
you know what fight I'm talking about.
Don't choke on your aspirations, Director Krennic. I love that. And the thing is,
Moff Tarkin taking the credit and pushing Krennic aside and shows how he actually takes over running the Death Star. It's a perfect movie.
When I was a kid, I used to run around the Force with a stick, pretending to be a stormtrooper.
Yeah.
And the whole battle sequence where they invade the base, and the stormtrooper battling the rebel, not even the rebel, the rogue units.
Yeah.
and they're having this big battle. That whole sequence, to me, it's a perfect movie from start to finish.
We haven't seen a beach technically. I guess some of Revenge of the Sith has some kind of beach stuff, but the setting, the world.
So the wow, I'm forgetting what I was going to say, but this is important. It's really the series Andor series came out, and it's directly related to the Rogue One, and the Andor series is one of the best Star Wars series that they've come out with.
That is one I have not fully finished, which is why we didn't add series into this. And when I finish it, we can go over series.
I don't think you have any relevant say in this because you're not a true Star Wars fan.
Whatever. I have a 3-year-old and a 6-month-old.
I'm just kidding.
Okay, next up, Revenge of the Sith, Episode 3.
Boy. Here's my problem.
I would go. Do you want me to put this one in?
You go
and then
first.
You go. I would put Revenge of the Sith in. This is the way. Above, since we put Force, I would put it above Force Awakens.
I wholeheartedly agree being above Force Awakens, but I want to put it in One with the Force. And you know why?
Why is that? Because
it's really, it's got the perfect blend of darkness, and they do a good job at kind of. It's a shock to see him turn into Darth Vader. You almost don't want him to. My drop. That is my one thing that drops us down from One with the Force is, in my mind now, I'm viewing this a little bit taking out Clone Wars and everything, because if you have all of that, you understand his jump more. We watched this. This is back. We watched a lot of Star Wars movies for the first time in theater together. We watched this up in Roseburg, Oregon. Went to the midnight premiere, and I had seen Attack of the Clones, and there was no Clone Wars TV show. There's no other thing. And then we watched this. So if you watch Clone Wars into this, his jump and his wholehearted descent into the dark side, I feel like was a too big of a jump. There were seeds. It was too big. When you take, like they covered too much ground too quickly.
They covered too much ground too quickly. If you add Clone Wars series in, if you add, I guess Clone Wars series and then the standalones, all that in, it covers it so much better with the Ahsoka storyline, with everything. It's amazing. I agree with then the whole arc, but at the same time, if you go from part 2 to part 3, that is what drops it down to me to This Is the Way. Amazing movie. Wholeheartedly love it. Great three-part story.
I'll go with you on This Is the Way. I think that...
Do you understand my reasoning?
Yes, I do. I think that Revenge of the Sith... I will say this: the opening to that movie is my favorite opening of all Star Wars movies. Like every Star Wars movie ever made has my favorite opening when it opens on the big space battle, and
even over Hoth.
Obi-Wan. Oh yeah,
even over Hoth.
Hoth is just the probe droids being sent out.
So you're talking about complete cold open.
I'm talking about cold open. Right after the scroll, it opens. And the ship battle, and they're flying in, and the buzz droids are destroying the Obi-Wan ship, and he thinks he's going to die, and then they both land their ships.
For cold open, 100%. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah. So that
cold open.
I love Revenge of the Sith, but I think it's solid first place, and This Is the Way.
Yeah.
So,
and if we we'll put these movies in when we add series, and we can bump that up when we talk about adding series. Solo.
All right, now this is a movie that when I finished, I sat in the theater going, I don't know if I like this movie or if I love this movie. And then I watched it again, and I was like, I love this movie.
I agree.
I would put it in This Is the Way. I don't think it deserves to be in the top tier.
I would put it below Force Awakens in This Is the Way. That's where I would
put it above Force Awakens. And here's why.
Below Revenge of the Sith.
I love when you get into the dirt and the grit of Star Wars. That's why I love Andor.
You like are you going to play the new game when it comes out, even though it costs a bajillion dollars?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Okay.
I love that when the end scene happened and Darth Maul was sitting on the throne with the Darksaber.
Yeah.
I was like so excited.
Are they ever going to go anywhere with that?
I don't think
Rebels,
so.
Because Rebels came out after that and killed off the character.
They did a good. Rebels is one of the best animated series out there.
Yeah. Because
they cover a lot of ground and they address this.
Over Clone Wars, check back for the next video to see.
Oh, totally over Clone Wars. You don't have to bother watching this video. I can just tell you right now. Rebels is the best animation out there.
We'll add series in later.
I'm just kidding. But yeah, I liked Solo. I liked how Chewie and Han met. I liked the whole rogue trying heist. heist kind of thing, and
Kessel. I mean, everything.
You look at all the gangster organizations out there. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to finishing Andor because it adds with that tone, adds a lot.
The best thing of Andor is how it ends. So you got to watch Andor.
I'm enjoying it so far. And then finally,
I think it's funny how you left this one for last.
It was random. I randomized it completely.
This is the most controversial one of all of them.
Yes, controversial, but okay.
Say it.
I would put it in Bantha fodder. There are just so many things. I understand that having the different directors, the different storytelling, that this whole story, I feel like J.J. Abrams had to make up so much ground and try to curb things back. But right beginning, Palpatine is back, and then Poe comes in and tells, "Hey, guess what? Palpatine's back." And everyone's shocked about it. And then, but then you see Ben Solo go and see Palpatine. So he just said he's Palpatine, but then he goes and sees Palpatine, and then guess what? Palpatine. Storytelling. Where did the 1,000 Star Destroyers come from? Why were they underneath ice and fully crewed underneath ice? How long were they buried?
Built. Okay,
underneath the planet.
You're gonna hate me for this. You know where this one goes, in my opinion? One with the Force.
So it's in back to. You did that intentionally.
Nope. Because here's why.
No.
I love the colors. I love the lightsaber battles. I love the fact that there's that darkness in the temple. I love the fact that you see all the Star Destroyers. I love at the end how it's kind of like in Avengers Endgame, how all the Avengers assemble and come out of the thing. And here's comes.
Where were all those? Are you talking about all the ships that just arrive in the end?
Yeah.
Where were all those ships at any point when they're fighting the?
It doesn't matter. It's Star Wars. I love how
storytelling matters.
I just love how it all comes
in. Matters.
I will say
so that you side with what's called the rule of the rule of cool. You really much side with the rule of cool. That if it's just amazing, I agree, but it has to be grounded in the reality of
Matt,
the world.
Absolutely loathes this.
You got to show this. You have to show this video when it uploads to your.
But I think it belongs in One with the Force because it's a cap to the whole thing. You can disagree with the writers. You can disagree with. Now, I will say that Kathleen Kennedy needs to quit, and Dave Filoni needs to be fully in charge. And would this movie have been drastically better with Dave Filoni in charge of it? 1,000,000,000% yes. I think they should have brought George Lucas back in for this movie because this is the cap to the Skywalker saga. But however it ends, I think it's cool that she said I'm a Skywalker because that's who she affiliates with. But I wanted to see more of her, and I wanted to see her almost go to the dark side. I wanted to see her embrace the dark side, almost like Kylo Ren flips, and he becomes the light side, and she becomes dark side, and she truly embraces the power of the Palpatine. I think that would have been cool. But I would say it's probably the best movie ever made.
It's my video, so I will compromise and put it at the top of Back to Tank.
I think it deserves This Is the Way, but you do what you want with it.
One thing, so many things. Why do they have sand speeders with treads when they have already air speeders that work? Why are they going through the desert and they randomly fall into the one sand pit that works? And why do they do? I can't stand fake out deaths at all. And Chewie's dead. No, he's not. Oh, Ben Solo's dead with a lightsaber wound, but we can heal lightsaber wounds now because that's something that probably would have been seen before.
If it wasn't for the fact that I watch these movies like a 3-year-old watches these movies, maybe not, that's too young. I'll say a 5-year-old watches these movies.
I know.
I would probably put it down in Bantha fodder.
I understand your joy of it, but do you understand my criticisms of it?
No, because I'm 5.
Top of Back to Tank. So we will revisit this. We will revisit this when we bring in series.
You know what's
with
great?
In place
There's not one movie in Bantha fodder because
should have been, but we compromised.
Nope, because that was.
I'm happy, but not happy.
I'm not ever going to put a Star Wars in the fart can again, and that's the Bantha fodder.
So next video, this will be renamed as the fart can.
This was fun, man.
This was fun. Are you glad that we sat down cold open, had no clue what we were doing?
You surprised me. I didn't know what. I thought this was going to be
You thought we were going to talk about books.
Yeah.
That's why it's called the Sanders Review. It may change at some point in the future, but as of right now, we can talk about stories because we love stories, and Star Wars is one of our favorites, and this could get 5 views or 5 million views.
Right.
I hope you enjoyed it.
I read, too.
You do actually. You're getting into some interesting. What's the book that you said I should read? The Illusion. No,
Alchemist.
Alchemist. You said I need to read it. So that's
a lot of Christians will be like, "You can't read that book," but I think it's an amazing book, and it's filled with symbolisms. And you just have to be a strong Christian enough to know that when a non-Christian author writes something that has things of the Bible in it, he's not trying to rewrite the Bible. He's writing a book of poetry, and that's the way it is.
I look forward to reading it, and if you're not a Christian, enjoy good stories. I've heard that's a great story too. But as a Christian, I look forward to reading it and seeing all those. So thank you so much, Sean. Appreciate you being here. Fart can and bantha fodder and all those decisions aside.
Can you add fart sound effects?
Sure. There you go. Go ahead. YouTube will recommend some videos up here. Thank you so much. God bless. Have a great day. We'll talk
Watch
to you
our
later.
other YouTube channel, Joe's Nut House.
That might make it, it might not. We'll see. It'll make it in. Take care, guys.